Namaste, a very happy Navaratra festival to all of you. We have been listening to the very auspicious story of Durga Saptashati. Day before yesterday and yesterday we heard the story of the three Charitams, the Prathama Charitam, Madhyama Charitam, and Uttama Charitam. The story, the thrilling narration of how Sri Devi manifested as Durga, as Aparajita, Kali, Badala, Dashamahavidya, Mahasaraswati, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and how she motivated Mahavishnu also, and she vanquished so many demons and restored dharma everywhere in creation. So every time yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati, whenever dharma glani happens, whenever the descent of dharma happens, the great divine power will manifest in many ways. Her vibhutis are her extraordinary glories, will manifest in some or the other name and form and set right everything. So we should always tread the path of dharma and always trust in her and stand up for dharma very courageously. So that is a very great message of Durga Saptashati uh, that we internalized yesterday and day before yesterday. It is also the tradition to listen to the very beautiful and touchy story of Shiva and Parvati, which is popularly called Girija Kalyanam. After listening to the story of Durga Saptashati and the different glories of Devi's prowess, her Kshatra Tejas, it is so beautiful to listen to the story of Girija Kalyanam. How the same Jaganmata she manifested as a beautiful princess, and she was the daughter of Himavan, and how she grew up into a beautiful maiden, and how in order to marry Shiva, she performed very, very brilliant tapasya, and finally she married Shiva. And out of the union of Shiva and Parvati was born the great Subramanya Swami Skanda, who vanquished the Tarakasura. So this is a very auspicious story, and today is a very special day. Today, in the Navadurga forms, today is the Chandraghanta form, which is also the form of the new bride. Devi is in the form of a new bride, and Pratamam Shailaputri cha Dvitiyam Brahmacharini, Trutiyam Chandraghanta iti. So she's worshipped as Chandraghanta. So in this form, she has a union with Parameshwara Shiva. She is married to him and she becomes Ardhanarishwara. So today, incidentally, we are also listening to the story of how Shiva and Parvati got locked in marriage. So let's begin the story. There are many sources for the story. We see it in Kalika Puranam, Brahma Puranam, different Puranas, and in different very prominent kavyas also, these stories are narrated. And the story of Girija Kalyanam has many dimensions, many additions, many beautiful poetical additions. And we have these versions in different vernaculars like Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, Bengali, and all other Indian languages, Desha Bhashas. The main source is, of course, from the Sanskrit based Puranas, and the Kalika Purana is the most famous of all that. And one more very important source of Girija Kalyanam is that of the Mahakavi Kalidasa's Kumara Sambhavam. We all know about Kalidasa. He was an extraordinary poet. He was not just a romantic poet, he was a Darshanika Kavi. He was extraordinary in every way. He had digested the Sanatana Dharma spirit very well. And he was a great Veda Pandita, great Vedanta Pandita, and also a great learned person of Agama and Shastras and Puranas. All that is very evident from all his works. Every word of him is a gem and something to be internalized and understood. So Kalidasa's words are so beautiful, and his he picked up the story of Parvati's Kalyana to Shiva, and it is not just the story of Girija to Shiva. Through the whole story, he unfolds the beauty of Indian womanhood and the beauty of the best example of womanhood, what a woman can be, what her best qualities can make her, and how a tender, delicate, innocent teenager can ripen into a very mature, great, strong, powerful, and a very dynamic leadership kind of woman, a leader kind of a woman. All this is beautifully narrated in the Kumara Sambhava. Although it is called Kumara Sambhavam, the birth of Kumara or Kartikeya, the story majorly deals with Parvati's life, her beautiful personality, her great tapasya, and how Shiva comes to marry her. So this is a very auspicious story, very nice one, and I will be heavily a drawing from Kalidasa's Girija Kalyanam version, of course, here and there with the Kalika Purana and other Purana versions. So here we go. Jai Shri Durga Parameshwari Devi ki Jai, Jai Shri Gauri Shankara Bhagavatyam Namaha. So, uh, long ago, there was a very evil uh, demon called Tarakasura, just like we saw Shumba, Raktabija, Chandamunda, Mahishasura. So, time and again, some such demons are born and they spoil the ecosystem in the creation. They try to dominate, loot, and torture, and so they are those crooked-minded people. And there was a similar person called Tarakasura who was very strong, very clever, and very vicious. Apart from all this, he also performed tapasya to get extra power. So it is the norm of creation that anybody who works hard, who does tapasya, must be blessed with a boon. It could be a devata or a rakshasa, but one who performs tapasya, one who works hard, deserves a boon. So Tarakasura also performed great tapasya, and his intention was to obtain a boon, to become invincible, to become immortal in creation. So he performed tapasya, and because he was deserving, because of his very hard tapasya, Brahma appeared before him, and he obviously, like any other asura, asked for the boon of immortality. But Brahma said, "No, no, no, I can't give you that boon because I don't have the powers to give you that. I can give you any other boon. Ask me for anything else." So Tarakasura thought hard. He thought, what boon shall I ask? Every time every asura asks for a boon, the devatas are so clever, they try to find some solution and they really manage to vanquish us demons. So I should be very smart. He thought and thought for a while. And then he asked for a very strange boon. Let's go to the context of this boon. Just before this, a few thousand years before this, actually, Shiva was married to Sati Dakshayani. Dakshayani or Sati was the daughter of Daksha Brahma, Daksha Prajapati. And Daksha Prajapati was a very good person. He was a great devotee of Vishnu. He was a good ruler, good Brahma. He was also a small creator in his own right. And he had 28 beautiful daughters. The last one was Sati, and she was his favorite daughter. She was beautiful, and she was actually the um, embodiment of Shakti. She was Adya Shakti's incarnation. So naturally, she always wanted to marry Shiva. In the meanwhile, Daksha wanted to marry all his daughters to somebody handsome, beautiful, very glamorous, and he picked up Chandra. And he gave all his 27 daughters in marriage to Chandra, but 28th daughter, Sati, refused and said, "No, I will marry Shiva." In the meanwhile, Daksha did not like Shiva because there was a yajna happening somewhere, and in the yajna there is a sthana called Brahma sthana. Brahma is in a yajna. There are four people: Yajamana, the one who sponsors and performs the yajna, the maker of the yajna, the owner of the yajna, and the doer of the yajna. Then we have the Adhvaryu, who does all the official ritualistic part. Then we have the Udgatru. Udgatru is one who constantly chants the mantras because there should be no break in the mantras. Maybe the Yajamana will look around and call somebody, so there'll be some disruptions in between. But the Udgatru ensures that the flow of mantra goes on and on. Now there'll be an elderly person, a very senior person, not exactly in age but by experience and knowledge, called the Brahma. Brahma is the Adhyaksha. Adhyaksha means one who supervises. He should be an expert in Adhvaryu's job, in the Udgatru's job, and the Yajamana's job. He should be very senior in knowledge and experience, and he should be very regarded highly. And everybody in that sabha should adore him should accept his greatness. Such a very special person, a very mature yogi kind of a person will be selected to be made the Adhyaksha or the Brahma. So, in one such yajna, Shiva was chosen to become the Adhyaksha or the Brahma. Now, when one is sitting in a Brahmasthana, he should never bow down to anybody. Everybody else should bow down to him, but he should never do even Prati Namaskara. He should never bow back because sthana is like that. As long as he's in that sthana, he should never do Prati Namaskara. After the yajna, he can greet everybody. So this was a very normal, well-known norm. But Daksha Brahma was arrogant because he was also a Brahma. So Brahma, our Chaturmukha Brahma had these assistant Brahmas like Kashyapa Brahma, Daksha Brahma, Kardama Prajapati, all these smaller Brahmas. Like a prime minister has the chief ministers, the smaller ministers under him. Similarly, so this Daksha Brahma was slightly arrogant. So when a person becomes arrogant, he stops thinking in the dharmic way. He starts thinking emotionally, according to his whims and fancies. So now he thought he is very great and he deserves this prati namaskara from everybody. But when Shiva, he was lost in meditation. Wherever Shiva is, he's always lost. He's an Atma Rama. He's always lost in the Satchidananda Bhava. So he was the Shanta Shiva sitting in the Brahmasthana and very calmly supervising everything. And as per the norm, he did not do Prati Namaskara, and Daksha Prajapati took it very offensively and he felt offended and he started overreacting to that. He started abusing Shiva, he started hating Shiva, and he had, for every and any reason or no reason, he would keep on finding faults with Shiva, saying he's a Vairagi, he's a useless fellow, like that, like this. Now, when his very own favorite youngest daughter opted to marry Shiva, he was greatly disturbed. He tried to stop the marriage, but Sati Dakshayani was totally determined. She went to the base of the Himalayas, which we call Haridwar today. There's a place called Kankhala. On the banks of Ganga under a Bilva Vriksha, she performed very, very uh, Ugra Tapasya. And Shiva was happy by her tapasya, and he appeared before her and she sought Shiva's hand. She said, I want to marry you. So Shiva accepted her. Now the couple were greatly in love and she was the perfect Sati, very loving wife, and Shiva was a loving husband. She left all her riches and palace just to be with Yogi Shiva, like a yogini. Now things were going on as usual, but Daksha Brahma was entertaining this kind of disregard and great hatred for Shiva. He always thought Shiva snatched away his daughter, so he was repeatedly trying to insult Shiva. Now he was so vengeful that he deliberately, intentionally created a yajna where he wanted to insult Shiva. He wanted to give Havir Bhaga to Brahma, Vishnu, and all the devatas, Upadevatas, Yaksha, Gandharva, Kinnaras, Manushyas, everybody, but not to Shiva. By doing that, he wanted to insult Shiva. He wanted to trivialize the greatness of Shiva. And Sati was an innocent girl, so she told Shiva, "Look, I'm going to my father's house." Shiva said, "No, no, no, your father doesn't like you now because you're married to me. Don't go, just leave it there." But she said, "No, no, it's my father's house anyway. I'm going." And she went there. Then she realized that Daksha Brahma was out to insult Shiva. She could not bear that. She argued with her father, but he was not in a state to listen to her, and he continued to abuse Shiva, and she felt very bad, and she cursed him and she self-immolated herself in the Yajna Kunda. So after this, Shiva was terribly angry and he sent Veerabhadra from his tuft of hair, and Veerabhadra destroyed the Yajna. And Hari and Brahma, Vishnu and Brahma said, where people discriminate between Hari, Hara, Brahma, where they don't give us Samana Havir Bhaga, they try to discriminate or create a hierarchy or hate one of us. All the three of us are the same, one power acting in different ways. Srishti Sthiti Laya. Those fools who discriminate between me, show the Taratamya upon me. We will never accept Havir Bhaga there, so they left the place. When Hari and Brahma left the place, even the Devatas left the place, Yaksha Gandharvas, all the Upadevatas left the place. So just the people who had come to eat the delicious food were there. Now Veerabhadra came, destroyed the Yajna. But Sati's body was terribly burned down, and Shiva was very sad. He performed the Dukkha Tandava, Raudra Tandava with that. But then Vishnu cut the body with his Sudarshana chakra so that Shiva can forget the woes, and then the pieces of her body fell in different parts of Himalayas and other places, and that is what we call the Shakti Pitas, 52 Shakti Pitas today. After this whole episode, Shiva was totally a Virakta. He faced the Dakshina, which is Yama's direction, the death direction, and he sat in great meditation, Mauna. Gurostu Mauna Vyakhyam, Chitram Vatatarur Mule. So he was sitting under a Vatataru looking at he's called Mrityunjaya, one who won death. So he was gazing at death, and he was a calm person for thousands of years. He sat like this in meditation. And now, this was the time when Tarakasura was born, and he said, okay, so my boon, O Brahma, if you are giving me a boon, give me the boon that the son of Shiva will vanquish me. So Tarakasura's calculation was that Shiva is very sad. He's lost his wife forever. He will not marry again, so he'll not have a son. So I will not die. But Dharma Rakshana is at most. So what happened? Now, after all that, Shiva was still in meditation, and in the meanwhile, the Devatas were greatly upset by Tarakasura, and Tarakasura was creating a havoc. He usurped all their wealth and lands, everything, and he used to take Maya rupas, like he would become a peacock once, he would become a tree once, a human once, and so on. Now they were all praying to Adyashakti, saying, "Oh, please come back again, be born. This time you have to come as Shivasati and you have to beget a son who will vanquish Tarakasura. Please come, please come." In the meanwhile, Himavad Maharaja, the king of Himalaya, and his wife Mena Devi, they had 100 brilliant sons, beautiful, handsome, strong, noble, cultured, trained, etc. But they were not satisfied. They wanted to have a beautiful daughter. So go and tell our feminists. The story goes that they had 100 sons, very worthy, but they were not satisfied. They wanted to have one daughter. And they performed Ghora Tapasya of many, many, many years to obtain Adya Shakti as the daughter. So Adya Shakti, who is now Antardhana, she is abstract, she is formless. She appeared to both the Devatas and Himavat Parvata and blessed them and said, "Okay, I'll be born as Parvati very soon." Now, in due time, Parvati was born. Devi was born as Parvati. Parvatasya putri Parvati. Parvatasya apatyam stri Parvati. So she was born as his daughter, and at a very young age, she displayed the best of womanhood qualities, and she grew up like a beautiful woman. And Narada Maharshi himself came and gave her all the education, Veda Shastra, Purana, Agama, everything she learned, and she was very talented, very skilled, very beautiful, very noble, very well behaved, uh, very dignified, and very strong, and in every way very auspicious. So now she grew up, and she knew in the heart of her heart that she's born to marry Shiva, and even Narada Maharshi told her about her background. And Himavad Parvata, her father Himavan was also eager to get her married to Shiva. Now she was growing up in a very beautiful way. The world was watching her, the Devatas were watching her grow. Now she came of age, she came to the age of 16, which was the Shodasha, Vayaha, when the romantic feelings begin, and girl starts feeling like a woman, and she has her beautiful dreams blossoming. So that was the age of Parvati. Now her dreams of marrying Shiva became all the more stronger, and she was ready, she was eligible to marry Shiva. In the meanwhile, Himavan was also praying to Shiva, but Shiva was still lost in meditation, facing the Dakshina. Now, suddenly Shiva woke up from his meditation and appeared in front of Himavan and said, "Okay, give me a place for meditation." Himavan was very happy. In Kannada, we say, "Rogi baisiddu halanna, vaidya heliddu halanna." The, the, the patient was desirous of eating kheer, and the doctor also said, "Your diet will be kheer." So they got what they really wanted. So Shiva woke up, he came to Himavan, asked for a place. Himavan was more than happy, and he created an ashram for Shiva, and he appointed his own daughter to serve Shiva. It is a beautiful tradition in our Sanatana houses to appoint our daughters to uh, give hospitality to guests, to serve food, to take care of them too. Because they are the mother figures, you know. Every woman, knowingly or unknowingly, is a mother figure. We have that beautiful Matritva Shakti in us. And that is what we have to realize. We are not just showcase dolls. We are not there to entertain Eve teasers. We are here to manifest the best of motherhood qualities. So that is why the training is given to young girls. So Parvati was appointed to serve Shiva, and she was more than happy. Her great darling of her hearts had come. So she was doing Shiva's service with great humility. Although she was a princess, she just relieved all her servants, and she did every task in the ashrama. She used to sweep, broom, do every task and make things ready for his puja, give athitya to people who came. She took care of every need of Shiva. Now Shiva was lost in meditation. He was observing Parvati, no doubt, but he was in no mood for any romance. He was just in a tapobhava. Parvati also realized that, and she was very careful when she did all the service. She was just doing service with no kind of any other intention on mind. Now, everything was going on fine, but the Devatas were in a haste. They were tortured by Tarakasura so much, so they really wanted Shiva to wake up. open his eyes and see Parvati, and they wanted something to happen. They wanted love to blossom between Shiva Parvati, and they wanted some romance to happen so that they get married. And they could not wait enough, so they were in a haste. And Devendra sent Manmatha and Vasanta to Shiva's ashram and said, "Go create an artificial spring season and inspire love in Shiva's heart." So Vasanta came, he created an artificial spring season suddenly at the wrong time, and Shiva was slightly distracted. He looked around. Oh, is this a time for spring? He was looking around. Just then, Parvati came. She was doing her seva. She was trying to offer some flowers to him. And just then, when she was in front of him, Manmatha thought this is the right time and he shot his arrow of flowers onto Shiva. So he has five. Panchabhana. He's got five flowers, which are his arrows, and they will just infatuate anybody and everybody. Such powerful arrows of Manmatha. So they touch Shiva's heart for a moment. Harastu kinchit parilupta dhairyaha chandrodayaramba mivamburashi. So before, uh, just for a while, harastu kinchit parilupta dhairya. His dhairya, the mental state, very slightly got distracted and he Vyaparayamasa Umamukham Bhujam. So his eyes, for a moment, they went around Parvati's face and stopped at her lips, just for a few seconds. It was like Chandrodayarambha Mivamburashi. Chandrodayarambha Mivamburashi. Just when on the full moon day, the Chandrodaya happens, this moon comes up, the oceans or the seas, they just a little, they kind of, they seem to be coming up, isn't it? So it was like that. But in just seconds, Shiva realized he was a Yogeshwara after all. He could not be easily influenced by any outer influences. So suddenly he realized and he thought, I am in a tapo bhava. What happened? Who did this to me? How could I get distracted? He just looked around. Who is trying to disturb my tapasya? And then he caught Manmatha red handed, who was still holding his bow and not yet had released his hands. So Shiva was angry. He looked at him. How dare you disturb? And his third eye opened, and Manmatha was burned down in minutes. So Manmatha was now ashes, and everybody was astounded, shocked, aghast. And Parvati also felt the shock. My God, I was so careful in my service. I did nothing wrong. Why did this happen? She was in a shock. Himavan was in a shock. Everybody was in a shock. Having discussed, Shiva just vanished from there, and nobody knows where he went. He was totally abstract, never to be seen. He was unseen to anybody. So now Parvati was feeling very bad. Rati wept a lot. She prayed to Shiva. Then he said, "Okay, he will be visible only to you, but not to anybody else." Now Parvati was feeling very bad. She thought, "Okay, Kalidasa says the arrows of Manmatha, instead of touching Shiva's heart, have pierced to Parvati's heart. So she's love, grief-stricken by love. She's got this viraha, vipralamba shringara, and she's thinking of Shiva. She weeps and weeps and weeps and weeps. She says, "Oh, what went wrong? Why did this happen to me? I was waiting for Shiva. Doesn't Shiva know that I am made for him?" And she thinks in many ways. And the Kinnaris used to also cry with her, and she used to draw Shiva's picture without drawing the legs, thinking that he will run away if I draw his legs. And she was thinking of Shiva all the time, and she was trying to find the reason for why Shiva is still not coming to me. Why am I not yet eligible to marry Shiva? So yes, I am beautiful, I am learned, and I am very noble. I am well behaved. I belong to a very good family. I have a very good background training. In every way, I am a pativrata. I am a sadhvi. I am befitting of Shiva in every way. But still, why did he not respond to me? Why did he think I still need to wait? There must be some reason. Then that Manaswini Parvati, she was not just another woman. She was somebody who could think. This is important. Not just borrowing thoughts, getting influenced by what comes on WhatsApp or what comes everywhere, here, there, the Bollywood dirty dialogues. Not like that. We should have our own dharma prajna. So she was a Manini, Manaswini, Dharma Vriddha. So she thought very deeply and she got the answer. Yes, I think I know why Shiva is still not coming to me. I still need to write him. I'm a beautiful princess. I have beauty, I have learning, and I have wealth, I have status, and all this, okay? But all these never can please God, Paramatma. What pleases Paramatma? It is only tapasya. I'm here as a princess enjoying 3 meals a day, going around with my friends, sleeping on my costly beds, and just wearing beautiful decorations. I'm just like any other woman. I'm in Bhoga, but Shiva is a Yogeshwara. He is the greatest of greats. And how can I, as ordinary woman who is steeped in Bhoga, be his wife? I have to become a Yogeshwari myself too. So she understood and she sought the blessings of her parents. Her mother was initially very, very sad. She said, "No, my daughter, you're such a delicate darling. It is like even if a honey bee sits on the shirisha, that small, very tiny, delicate flower, it will bend down like this to the weight of just the honey bee. And imagine if an eagle sits on that, it will just get destroyed. So your body is so delicate. Even doing one time puja or a small upavasa or vrata costs a lot to your body. You feel very fatigued and tired. And how can your body bear the brunt of tapasya? It is only possible for a strong men to do that, not a delicate girl like you. But Parvati somehow convinced her parents and her father, particularly, her mother, particularly, and then she went for tapasya. She went to the high peaks called the Gauri Shikhara and she built an ashrama for herself. And Kalidasa very beautifully says, before she retired into the jungles, she gave her beautiful, lovely looks, Chanchala Nayana, Chanchala Drishti to the fawns, to the female fawns. And that is why the female fawns have such beautiful eyes. And then she gave her beautiful, delicate, and gait, that lovely, graceful gait, she gave it to the creeper. And she shed all her ornaments and she gave up all her silken garments. She wore just pure bar garments and she wore just a rudrakshamala. She tied her hair, beautiful hair, which were anointed with oil. Now she tied them up in a jata and she stopped wearing even the kajal or any kinds of cosmetics. She lived a very simple life and she performed the Shashtyaha Vrata. Shashtyaha means 60 days Vrata. Day by day, the fasting becomes very, very harsh. Initially, taking limited food, then less food, then just one meal a day, then no meal, just some simple tiffin or snacks, then not even that, just vegetables, then not even that, just fruits, then not even that, just juices, not even that, just milk and just water, and then finally just air, pranayama, then not even that, just kumbhaka, control even that. So totally, step by step, the fasting becomes very, very, very severe till it ends in kumbhaka. So such vrata she performed, and during the summer season she would perform the Pancha Agni Tapasya, having four pyres of fire on four sides, and the fifth Agni is sun himself, Surya himself. She will sit from morning, from dusk, from dawn to dusk, and she will gaze at the Surya without blinking her eye. It's too impossible to even imagine. So she performs this tapasya, and Kalidasa says there was a dark circle around her eyes, but her eyes were brilliant, more brilliant than the sun himself. Then she performs the another kind of tapasya during winter. She stands neck deep in the snow clad lakes of Himalaya and she's doing the Panchakshari Japa. Kalidasa says it's as if a white lotus, that beautiful face of Parvati, is like as if when and in deep winter, because of snow, all greenery is destroyed. All the flowers and lotuses have vanished, but this appears as if one little white lotus. And she is doing the Panchakshari Japa, her lips are shaking. It's as if the lower petal is shaking because of the Himapata, the snowfall. So she's standing neck deep and doing Panchakshari Om Namah Shivaya Japa. Namah Shivaya Japa. And then the beautiful description of her tapasya during the rainy season is very, very special. It seems Pratamoda Bindu, the first drop of rain, even before the first drop of rain fell, even before the rainy season started, she stood on one foot with one leg held up with both her arms held up in the Namaskara Mudra in such a firm position, and she started tapasya. And the first drop of rain, it fell here, it fell on her eyelashes, and they slipped from there, and then they fell on her lips, and because her lips were slightly moving because of Panchakshari Japa, they from there they fell on her chest and they just broke, split like this, and a few drops they just trickled down and settled on her navel. So this particular shloka of Kalidasa is so beautiful. Here he's suggesting the beauty, the youthful beauty of Parvati. She has such lovely, smooth eyelashes, and she's got a very firm chest. She's a youthful woman, and she's so slim that the water trickled down and settled in her navel. So she's so thin. If she was fat, if she had a big tummy, the water would have flowed somewhere else. And this is one thing. The other beautiful suggestion is of her tapasya bhangi. She was so firm, so perfect in the posture that not a single, her posture was so perfect that the water had to go and settle there only. So both her tapasya bhangi, tapobhava, and her saundarya, beauty, both have been so beautifully suggested in one shloka by Kalidasa. So Parvati performed this tapasya, she performed many more tapasyas. She was doing japa all the time she was doing the Panchakshari japa, and her fingers were getting very rough because she was every moment doing the japa on her fingers, and she was wearing the bark garments which were very rash on her skin, and they were creating red marks all over her skin and waist and shoulders, and but still she was so beautiful, and she just did not mind any kind of hardship because she loved Shiva. She was waiting for him. So all the rishis and they would come and watch and see, wow, is this the way to do tapasya? They were learning how to do tapasya by seeing Parvati. She was now a dharma vriddha. She was a tapo vriddha. Although she was young in age, vriddhi means growth. She was ages by tapasya. So she had become a Yogeshwari. All the siddhis came to her: Anima, Ladima, Mahima, Garima, Ishita, Vashita, Prapti, Prakamya, all these Laukika siddhis, Moksha siddhi, Yoga siddhis, anything and everything that Yogeshwara Shiva had. Because she was Adya Shakti herself, she was manifesting everything. Now she was no more that simple innocent teenage girl. Now she was a mature Shakti Swarupini, Yogeshwari, Tapaswini, and she was growing up in a beautiful way, blossoming in a beautiful way into a Devi, into a great Shakti Swarupini, getting ready to marry Shiva. And it seems her tapobhava, tapas tarangaha, the vibrations, the vibes of her tapasya, they filled the forest region, and even those animals which used to always fight with each other, like the snake and the mongoose, or the deer and the lion, even those animals started becoming friends. So that was the effect of her tapasya. And then so this was how it was, and everybody were so enamored. They were kind of thrilled by seeing her tapasya, fascinated, but Shiva was not still coming. Then finally everybody told, oh Shiva, don't make her wait so much, please do come. Then Shiva said, yes, the time has come. And now Shiva doesn't come directly before her. He wants to have some fun, he wants to tease Parvati. So what Shiva does, he comes in the form of a jatila. Jatila means an elderly student. In students, those who complete their studies by around the age of 24 and then they go and get married, that is one set. There are some who continue their studies, they remain Naishtika Brahmacharis, they continue to remain in the ashrama, and they also teach, they also learn, they do research, they're totally dedicated to education. So they are called the Jatilas, they are the elderly students, students of a higher age. So they Shiva took that form of an elderly student, and he entered the ashram of Parvati. Everybody around Parvati, the tapasvis there and her Sakhis and Parvati herself were fascinated by this great Shiva. Who is this? Who is this Jatila? We have never seen him. It's as if the four Vedas have personified and coming in his form. He's so brilliant. What is this luster in him? What is this virtuous in him? Who is he? Who could he be? So everybody was enamored. Parvati was also feeling this, but she was still doing the japa, japa, japa internally. Now Jatila came and he said, okay, Parvati, I'm so happy. I heard you're doing tapasya. How about you? Is everything fine? You're getting all your samit, etc. for your Vaidika karmas properly. Is everything going fine? There was some exchange of pleasantries, and then he said, okay, Parvati, I am very curious to know whom you want to, why are you doing tapasya? What do you lack at all? You are a princess, you are beautiful, you are a damsel, you are the most beautiful woman on the earth, in the world, in the whole worlds, in all the worlds. And all the devatas will stand in a queue to marry you. So, what are you wishing for? What are you desiring for? What do you lack at all? Vidya, or beauty, or power, or you belong to a very elite family. So, what do you lack? What are you doing tapasya for? So, Parvati was doing japa, and she was also shy. So she just looked at her Sakhi, and the Sakhi explained she is doing tapasya to marry Shiva. So Shiva, in the form of Jatila, pretends innocence. He says, "What? What? Did I hear properly? You want to marry that? You mean that Shiva? Am I hearing right? That Shiva, who's a Bairagi, who's an ascetic, so unromantic, so dirty, always wearing that blood, this. He's wearing a Gajat Sharma. He's wearing an elephant hide, which is soaked in blood, and he's wearing this ashes all over his body, and he's so dirty. His friends are all bhuta pishachas. He lives in some burial ground somewhere. He does not have a proper home, and he wanders around every day asking for bhiksha. You mean that Shiva? Am I hearing right, Parvati? He says. I don't think he's the right match for you. Parvati is slightly disturbed. She says, "No, he's Paramatma. You have misunderstood him. He's Paramatma. Don't say like that. All the riches of all the worlds mean nothing to him because he creates them out of ash." But Shiva wants to continue the joke. He continues and says, "No, Parvati, I think your choice is not right. Please think again. Look, okay, let's consider you got married. Huh? Imagine the very moment the event of marriage will be a horrifying experience for you. When you do the panigrahana, you extend your hand to hold his hands. What happens? The snake, he is wearing snakes all over his body. Snakes are wandering on his body. So one snake will come and say, "Bus." You'll have a very fearful, horrifying experience. And when you get married, imagine you will come on a beautiful uh, golden howdah, seated on the patta gaja, on the important royal elephant, and there'll be a beautiful music band along with you, your sakhis and all the best musicians. The Gandharvas and Kinnaras will be singing lovely songs with beautiful instruments, and such a beautiful, spectacular procession will come along with you. And you will come like that in such grandeur. You wear lovely bridal dresses with beautiful ornaments, and you have this Hamsa Chitra on your lovely bridal uh, sari. So you will come like this. And how will Shiva come? He will come completely clad in bhasma, and he will come in that gajacharma, that where it is blood is dropping from that elephant hide, freshly killed elephant hide, and he'll be sitting on a nandi, an old bull. And who will come with him? His pishacha gana, kushmanda, vetala, pishacha. These ganas, all very ugly looking people and very ill behaved, will be shouting. And imagine their orchestra in contrast to the beautiful singing of your Kinnaras and Gandharvas. My God, it's such a mismatch, Parvati. I can't imagine this. How can you marry that Shiva? No, 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 Parvati. You must think twice. Okay, if you still want to marry him, imagine after you go, where will he take you? He does not have a home. Okay, he'll take you to some burial ground. Here in your palace, Himavan is always laying beautiful flowers on the floors of these marble flooring of your palace, so that your feet, your delicate feet, don't get hurt. But there, Shiva will take you to your burial ground, where it will be full of hair, dirty hair, and bones and thorns and all this dirty stuff. You'll have to tread on them. Oh, Parvati, please think again. I don't think this is right. And how can you embrace a person like that? You will be anointed with beautiful chandana, sandal paste, and lovely, fragrant unguents and cosmetics, and Shiva will be full of chitta bhasma, the fresh ash from dead bodies. How can you embrace him? How can you go to him, Parvati? Think again. So Jatila goes on and on and on. It is Shiva himself, in the form of Jatila, he is trying to tease Parvati. He is trying to see whether she will be really distracted from her determination. Will she give up her conviction, give up her desire of marrying Shiva? But Parvati, it was too much for her. She could not answer back because she was doing japa, and moreover he was an atithi devo bhava. She did not want to shout at him and lose her tapo bhava, and she thought he's just another fool who has misunderstood Shiva. She says, "Okay, you are my atithi, I don't want to argue with you, I'm leaving this place. I can't hear Shiva ninda anymore." And she turns around in anger and she's about to leave. And just then Shiva thinks, "Okay, I think this is enough." And he stops and says, "Oh, Parvati," holds her by, by her hand. Parvati turns around and she is shocked. She sees it's none other than her darling, that is Shiva. She says it's the same Paramatma who's come in the form of Jatila just to test her. just to tease her. And she's so happy, she's confused, she's thrilled, and she feels so fulfilled. And her the state of mind, Kalidasa says, is like that of a huge mighty river which is gushing forth in all force, suddenly blocked by a mountain. The river waters just swirl on and on there. They cannot go back, they cannot go ahead. So Parvati was like that. For a moment, she was thrilled, confused, everything. Then she softened down and she was now shy. She was happy. She blushed and she felt so blessed. And she bowed down to Shiva. And Shiva said, "Oh Parvati, you have bought me by your tapasya. I am always a dasa for tapasya. Tell me what I should do. I am now your servant. I will just obey what you say." So now Parvati could have said, "Okay, come, let's go married." No, she says, "No, I'm a Kanya. I'm the daughter of my father. I belong to my father. You have to come duly and ask for my hand in marriage and marry me." Shiva says, "Yes, of course." And Parvati shyly goes back to her parents. And now Parvati is a great Yogishwari, befitting of Shiva. Now, whom will Shiva send? He is the Lord, he is a Paramatma. So he sent the Saptarshis along with their wives, and they go to this Himavan and they negotiate about Shiva and Parvati's marriage. Kalidasa again brings a very beautiful shloka there. Parvati is very curious to listen to all that because it's about her marriage to Shiva. So they'll be talking about Shiva, Shiva, Shiva again and again. It's lovely to hear that, but she was also feeling shy, embarrassed to stand there with open eyes and listen to all that. So she was a shy girl, but she was also interested. So she just picked up one लोटस एवं वादिनी देवर्षौ पार्श्वे पितुरधो मुखी लीलाकमलपत्राणि गणयामास Parvati. So she stood beside her father and she picked up a lotus flower and she pretended to be counting the leaves like this and she was listening to the conversation. Finally, the marriage was planned and there was a mega marriage done in the house of Himavan. Today, according to the Kshetra Purana, they say the place is Triyogi Narayan, very close to Kedarnath. On the way to Kedarnath in Gharwal, Himalaya, there's a place called Sonprayag. If you take a left turn, you go a few 15 kilometers or so, you find this valley called Triyogi Narayan. There's a Triyogi Narayan temple, which is supposed to be the Kula Devata of Himavan, and that is where they say Shiva Parvati was given in marriage to Shiva. There's still a big dhuni there, Homakunda, which is supposed to be the Sakshi for Shiva and Parvati's marriage. And we can go and offer summit there. It's still burning today. And there Parvati was given in marriage to Shiva. Vishnu himself came and he was witness to that. He took the place of her brother, and Brahma himself was the Adhvaryu, Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Yama, Kubera, Nirutti, and all the Yaksha, Gandharva, Kinnara, Kimpurushas, Siddha, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas. Everybody came. The Manushas came. The Rishis came. Everybody was there. It was a mega marriage, the best ever marriage, and in such a great marriage, Parvati was given in marriage to Shiva. And there are many versions of this beautiful story. There's a very beautiful Telugu version which says that they create the poets Ravi Kanadana Kavi Kanda we say in Kannada. What the sun cannot see, this poet can see. The poetic imaginations are lavished upon this story. One Telugu poet says when Shiva was dressed up to come in a Bharat to marry Parvati, his friends, the Vetalas, Kushmanda, Pishachas, Bhutaganas, they said, "Oh Shiva, we will dress you." So they brought the choicest of bones and hair and all that, and they put them on Shiva. They put a rundamala and they covered him with ash, and they made him sit ulta on the bull so that they can see him, and they were singing horribly and dancing all the way. And Parvati's mother, Mena Devi, saw this Bharat and she fainted and said, "No, I will not give my daughter in marriage to this Shiva." Then the Devata said, "Come on, Shiva, to you, silken garments or the Rundamala are all the same. You are Paramatma, but we are ordinary people. Please do listen to us." And they sent Apsaras who removed all that shabby things, dresses, and they again bathed Shiva in beautiful fragrant waters. They dressed him and they put beautiful dresses on him, beautiful cosmetics on him, and they dressed him like Sundareshwara. And then he appeared there, and Meena Devi was very happy. Finally, Shiva and Parvati got married. There's one more, and there's many small tales related to this. It seems when all the rishis and munis and all the best people of the world gathered to watch Shiva Parvati's marriage, the whole world was devoid of tapasvis because they were all there. So Shiva said this should not be. There should be a tapasvi on the other side of the globe also. So everybody has gathered here in the north. So he called Agastya and said, all these tapasvis is equal to you. You are such a great tapasvi. So um, I request you to go to south so that there's a balance of tapasvis. And Agastya said, okay, I'll miss your marriage, but dharma is more important to perform my duty. So then Agastya, along with his wife and his shishyas, he crossed the Vindhyas and came to South India. They say this is also one story popular in South India. So, like this, Shiva and Parvati got married, and the romance of Shiva Parvati began. And Parvati was getting ready. She was the Kushmanda Devi. She had the whole Brahmanda in her, in the form of a tiny Kuhu, Ushma, and Kuhu means very small, very tiny. Ushma means energy, brilliant, bright. Anda means egg. So the whole Brahmanda, everything she can conceive and create is already there in the form of a tiny egg in her womb. And she was getting ready to beget Skanda. And in due time, she was pregnant with Skanda. And the fetus was so hot, it was Agni Sambhava. It was so hot that she got a fever and she was very tired. So Ganga, Shiva's other wife, that she is the sister of Parvati. So she was a surrogate mother to this Skanda, the very very hot embryo of Subramanya was removed from Parvati's womb and set into Ganga's womb because Ganga was very cool. So now he's also called Gangeya. And then when he was born, in the Kritika Nakshatra, the Kritika Mata, six of them, they came and they fondled him, and he became six to be available to all of them. So they fondled him, loved him, and gave him back to Parvati. Now there were six babies. Parvati wanted to embrace all of them. Now he again became one, but his six faces remained, so that he's always seeing his foster mothers, the Kritika Devis. So all these beautiful stories are related to Skanda. And then when Skanda came of due age, he was 6 years old. Parvati called him and said, "Look, my son, you are not born just like that. You are born for a great mission." And the Devatas are greatly tormented by this demon called Tarakasura, and you are born to slay them. Now go, organize all the Devatas, bring them together, motivate them, train them, organize them, and lead them towards Tarakasura and kill Tarakasura in the battle and redeem the world of this great demon. May Dharma exist everywhere. It is your duty. So she was a great mother, Mahamaya, Mahamata. She gave him her Shakti Ayuda and said, "Go, my child." Look, a 6 year, 7-year-old child is sent by his mother to go and lead the war. So we are so puch about our children saying, "Don't do anything, don't try anything, be at home, always be happy, sit in your sofa, eat your popcorn, just enjoy your cartoon shows." We are trying to make them grow up like cowards. We have to give them tejas, like Jija Mata gave Shivaji that tejas, Kshatra tejas. So Parvati also tells her son, "Go, lead the Devatas." So he becomes a Deva Senadhipati. He organizes all the Devatas, and this little boy, little only by size, but great by worth, by might, he led the Devata army towards Tarakasura, and Tarakasura got to know about this. He was shivering, he was afraid. He had asked for a boon, and he understood that yes, that time has arrived. But still, he did not give up. There was a very, very big war between both of them. And Subramanya Swami, he totally defeated Tarakasura in every way. Tarakasura took different forms, like that of a tree, that of a peacock, that of a demon, etc. He did Maya Yuddha, he jumped into the skies, he came back here. But Subramanya was too good for him. He vanquished every trick of his. And finally, when he was taking the form of a tree, Subramanya cut him asunder in between and broke the tree. Now, when he was dying, Tarakasura repented. He said, "Oh, my Lord Subramanya, I realize that I've been very wrong. Now, tell me some way to repent, to atone for what I did. I want to somehow come out of this papa." So Subramanya said, "Every atonement happens with prayashchitta, not just by lip. You have to do something. Now you be my Mayura Vahana, be my peacock uh, Vahana, be my vehicle, and serve me for eternity, and you'll be redeemed of all your papa." So that's how he became Mayura of Subramanya. This is one of the stories. And then Subramanya Swami comes to Dakshina to spread the Shaiva Dharma, and he gives Agastya the Shaiva Jnana, and Agastya gave it to many other people here. And that is how the whole of South India today we do a lot of Muruga, Shanmukha Puja, and Agasteshwara. is there everywhere, and the beautiful Kaveri, which flows in the heart of South India, is supposed to be Agastya's wife Lopamudra, who used her tapashakti to flow as a river to serve humanity for eternity. So all these lovely stories are such nice messages. Live for something noble, live for something good, live for a dharma, live for an ideal. Life is not about eating and going around these malls, these resort culture, or nothing. They're just waste of time, waste of money, waste of our potentials. We never realize what we are. If we look within, if we look around in the right way, we see this great Desha Dharma. There are so many great ideals we can realize in life, and we can be resourceful to ourselves, we can be useful to the society, we can do something, some small seva to our Desha Dharma. So, such a great Subramanya Swami was born of the romance of Shiva and Parvati. So the story of Girija Kalyana is the story of the union of Shiva Parvati, which leads to the destruction of adharma, which leads to the destruction of adharma. That is why the story of Girija Kalyana, or where Shiva gives half of his body to Parvati, says, "What else can I give you as a marriage gift? I give you half of my personality." So one Paratattva is, one half is the masculine energy Shiva, another half is the feminine energy Gauri. Both are the same, both are interdependent, both have the same base, but both work very, very independently. There should never be a conflict or a comparison between the feminine and the masculine. It's stupidity. It is stupidity for a woman to try to ape a man, become like him, compete with him. Similarly, it is the same for a man also to vie with her. No, these both beautiful energies of nature have their own independent roles and also interdependent roles. So that is what Shiva and Parvati signify. The Ardhanarishwara Tattva, which is very, very beautiful, very symbolic of the union of Shiva and Shakti, is what we see as the fruition of this Girija Kalyana story. So we have listened to the beautiful Girija Kalyana story, the very auspicious story. Today is a day to specially remember Ardhanarishwara Swarupa, Devi as Chandraghanta, new bride marrying Shiva. May Jagannatha bless us all with Ayur Arogya, Aishwarya, Abhivriddhi, Desha Bhakti, Matru Bhakti, Dharma Nishtha. Let us become selfless and think in a big way. Let us do something for this country in a small way at least. And let's give up our selfishness. This is the time for us to wake up and stand up with Dharma, because Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. So may we offer this beautiful listening, Shravana, Punya Shravana, to the feet of Jagannatha Parvati Devi, and may this Sharan Navratra bring all kinds of auspicious blessings to us. May the adharma and the dushtas, the enemies of Bharata and Sanatana Dharma within the country and outside the country, be vanquished completely, and may Dharma get strength. It is not enough to be dharmic, it is important to be strong along with Dharma. May the strength, the Kshatra Bhava, the Dharma, Rakshana Bhava, Dharma Jagrati, Dharma Prajna also be aroused in all of us. With these prayers, I offer everything to the feet of Jagannatha Parvati. Please do study, please do read the Saptashati story, the Girija Kalyana story, narrate this to your children, sing on this, make dances on this, make dramas on this. There are different ways, but everything is a kind of anusandhana of the same. So may Jagannatha bless us all. या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. धन्यवादः. नमस्ते.